This week, we lab test the 2020 Lincoln Aviator, a mid-size 3-row SUV. And it's big enough to fit 2 dogs. Ain't that right, girl? Andie, where's Abby? Not under here. Whew. Abby? Of course you'd be on these seats. The perfect position seats. I hope you're comfortable. I don't blame Abby for wanting to sneak up here because these seats are called the perfect position seat. They can adjust 30 ways, so you better be able to find the perfect position. Look at this. The headrest even comes out, even the legs. Look at that, left or right side, or both, whatever you like. The controls right here on the door, looking a lot like a Mercedes. You can also adjust via the touchscreen. And check that out, you got massage seats too. Now when it comes to luxury vehicles, I always feel that Lexus comes out on top when it comes to seat comfort. Now I'm not saying that these are more comfortable than a Lexus, but they're pretty good and definitely way more comfortable than our personal Volvo XC90. And it holds true back there too. Captain's chairs that are wide, comfortable, which is great for adults, teens, dogs, car seats, kids, whatever you got to fit back here. And did you see the width of those armrests? They maneuver so easily with the push of a button, great for kids or if your hands are full. And you have this ooh la la fancy mini console right here with buttons to access the sunshade, plus some fancy touch screen controls down here too. Oh yeah, I forgot, these seats are also heated and ventilated. And the third row gives you access to 2 additional seats. It's definitely better for younger kids when you need the occasional extra seats, but we much prefer them flat, don't we, girls? And look at this, a side vent positioned perfectly if your dog likes to ride in the rear, which totally makes up for the lack of ceiling vents. And on those days where you're carting around 5 or 6 dogs, well, look at all this space you can achieve with the seats down. This is our first SUV that we've tested in a few weeks. We've come off of a month of sports cars. So honestly, when I got in here for the first time, I felt, whoa, I feel so high. I have adjusted, it's fabulous, by the way. And I felt like the steering was so loose. So I find myself primarily driving in Excite mode because it does give you a little bit more resistance in the wheel, which is always nice. The EcoBoost V6 in here performs great, 400 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque. Now one thing I want to point out, when you go on the Lincoln website, this particular model, the Aviator Reserve, starts at around $56,000. But all in, this particular one specs out at $75,000 plus. It's got some packages, one of which is a large ticket item, the Reserve 2, for about $12,000. That also includes the Co-Pilot 360 Plus package, so basically you got every safety feature you want, and the camera display is so clear. Top down, forward, back, parking sensors, you're gonna love it. Overall comfort when driving feels great, and it's quiet in here. I think it's way quieter than our Volvo XC90, which is a direct competitor, so that is a big plus. Andie has been comfortable since day one. Abby, on the other hand, is not in here at the moment because she moves around too much, and I can't really fit her large crate and Andie's bed. I did buy a few things to help harness, tether her in place, but I kind of want to either have myself or my husband next to her because we don't want to have any sort of negative association. We need her to like the car. Right, Andy? Speaking of traveling with your pet, there are some major bonuses in here. For example, it is so easy to adjust the second and third row climate from right here. Sunshades on those back windows. A 3-prong outlet. Although I'm not going to make a breakfast sandwich in here like I did in the Ford Expedition, we certainly love using that in the summertime to plug in a fan. And given the fact we have captain's chairs, Andy can easily see forward, I can see her, and of course it's always great for a lunch and a treat. And while this is more of a personal opinion, I think this is definitely one of the better looking SUVs on the road, especially when you look at its competition like the Acura MDX, Volvo XC90, Cadillac XT6, and this isn't even the fully loaded one, the Black Label Touring. And call me crazy, but if you look at this quickly from the side, I kind of think it looks like a Range Rover. Anyone else get that feeling? No? Okay, just me. So is the Aviator lab approved? I'm gonna go with yeah on that one. Lab approved. In fact, this is one of very few vehicles that have third row vents right there on the side. Not always the case. The other one I could think of is the Lexus RXL 450. But these I think are even better because they're positioned a tad bit higher, so it really just hits their face. And I wish there was a manual air suspension drop for lowered access in that rear. That would really help make things a bit safer when entering and exiting with a pet. It would also be great if they introduced seatbelt clips to prevent those things from flopping around. In fact, I would say that feels like the theme in this Aviator. It is so close, it really is, but there are just kind of a few strange things throughout. For example, from an ergonomic standpoint, this start-stop button, why not put it here so it's all together? Or put the drive select up top here. And when I'm driving, I find it so strange that I have to reach back to access the drive mode select button. If this button was relocated, perhaps up here, your center console could be that much bigger. You could even fit an iPad or a small laptop. I don't necessarily mind the park, reverse, neutral drive. I actually like it better than something you would find in the Acura MDX, but it would be nice if your parking brake were up here too, again, freeing more space in this center console. And speaking of vehicle dynamics, the modes aren't always super apparent because they use different words like excite. And it's kind of frustrating that this knob just spins and spins and spins, but you can't cycle through the options. Or these visors. Now, the roof is lined with this really nice thick material, but these visors feel different. It's flimsier, doesn't feel as soft, and kind of reminds me of a pair of tights. Or the infotainment. Now, while I don't need it, I do think it's great that the font is so large, especially in Apple CarPlay, but it seems like the engineers really weren't thinking about people who are under 5'4", because when I push my seat forward to my normal driving position, this screen is so upright, it's actually kind of hard to see. If there was just a tilt back function, it would be perfect. And yes, you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Now, I can only access it when I was wired in, so it begs the question, why are you teasing me with this wireless charger here? I mean, I guess your passenger can enjoy it, but it would be nice if it were wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. And the same goes for this elbow rest, which, by the way, is very big and quite comfortable, but unfortunately, I don't get to enjoy it because if you sit closer to the wheel like myself, look at this. You no longer have it. So it would be nice if they took a page out of Range Rover, added an armrest, or kind of do what Mercedes and Porsche does with that V. That would be lovely. And the door handles, they are quite lovely, but they take a little getting used to because you have to squeeze it. It's electronic, and I feel like they jut out even more than a regular door handle does. Now, after hearing all this, you might be thinking, ooh, she does not like the Aviator, and that couldn't be further from the truth. The point I'm trying to make is that this comes so close to perfection, and if all these little issues were addressed, I think this could be one of the best bang for your bucks when it comes to a luxury SUV. As I mentioned, the EcoBoost V6 in here performs great, and I appreciate all the small details like the lock symbol on the outside of the door frame. It seems trivial, but it's a great quick reminder if your door is locked. The fact that there's an emergency manual latch by the front door in case your electronic door release button stops working. The leather details, the wood trim, the beautiful speakers. The truth is, this is such a fine example that American brands know what luxury is. I honestly believe that if some of these complaints get addressed, it's the difference between just being impressed that an American brand did luxury versus flat out being a competitor with the European luxury brands. So Lincoln, if you're watching, please, I hope you don't take this as a negative. If anything, I am actually super excited to see what's to come. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Twitch and Instagram, and we'll see you next time. Can I get a high five? Yeah, bye.